The story begins at Korea's central bank, a name synonymous with trust and stability in the public eye. Min Jae has worked here for 20 years. Loyal, meticulous, invisible. But tonight, something is wrong. As he reviews the ledgers, a jagged pattern emerges, millions quietly siphoned into the shadows. Not a mistake, not an anomaly. Fraud. Heart pounding. Min Jae gathers the evidence and walks into the office of Manager Park Do-hyun, a room that smells of expensive scotch and unchecked authority. Min Jae's voice trembles, but he forces the words out. These are fraudulent. Park doesn't even look at the files. In one swift motion, he snatches the documents from Min Jae's hands, tears them apart, and lets the pieces fall like ash. The truth hits harder than the act itself. Park Do-hyun isn't surprised because he is the architect behind it all. Shaken to his core, Min Jae backs away, retreating to the archives. The silence there feels suffocating. His mind races, fear, disbelief, and desperation colliding. He has a choice to make. With trembling hands, he picks up the phone and makes a call. Elsewhere, in a dimly lit security room, Park watches everything unfold through cold surveillance screens. Blue light reflects in his eyes, emotionless, calculating. He already knows what needs to be done. To protect his secret, Park moves fast. That night, he arrives at Min Jae's house with masked thugs. Inside, Min Jae wakes suddenly, sensing something wrong. His wife stirs, but he tells her to sleep. The bedroom door bursts open. Thugs rushed in, overpowering them. They're tied up and brought to the living room. Park entered in calm and controlled mood. The truth, now undeniable. Without a word, Park walks to the kitchen and turns on the gas. The thugs bind Min Jae and his wife to the table. Park lights a cigarette, takes a drag, then leaves it behind. Park and thugs walked out. As soon as they stepped out, the house explodes into flames, consuming everything inside. In the ashes of the blast, Park and his men kept walking, believing everything is safe. Min Jae had 2 daughters, twins, Ji-yu, the stronger one, Jian, blind, but perceptive in ways others weren't. On the night of the attack, they were away, visiting their grandparents. On the day of their parents' funeral, people spoke of Min Jae and his wife with respect, with grief. Among them stood Park Do-hyun, composed, sympathetic, playing his part perfectly. The man who killed their parents, hiding in plain sight. After the funeral, an old man approached the twins. Quiet, cautious, he hands them a letter, then leaves without a word. Inside is something valuable, something dangerous. The truth isn't what it seems. It was about their parents' death. The man was a witness. Determined, the twins go to the police and file a complaint, but the officer in charge dismisses them coldly, calls it a simple fire accident, tells them not to waste his time. As they turn to leave, Ju notices something. The officer, laughing, friendly, shaking hands with Park. A seed of suspicion takes root. The twins decide to investigate on their own. They return to their parents' burned house. Now, a hollow shell of ash and silence. Ji-yu tells Jian to stay back as she searches through the ruins. Beneath the charred remains of their father's desk, she finds something. A hidden storage device. Back home, they plug it into a laptop. File after file reveals fragments of truth, and all of it points toward one man, Park Do-hyun. Doubt turns into certainty. Days later, under pouring rain, the sisters track one of Park's men through the city. Ji slips into a nearby shop to follow a lead, leaving Jian waiting by the roadside. A sudden crack of thunder splits the sky. Startled, Jian loses her balance and stumbles into the street, where cars rushing past at full speed. Headlights surge toward her. At the last second, a young man leaps into the road and pushes her to safety. But he's struck by another car. He hits the ground hard. An ambulance arrived, lifting him away. From the shadows, the sisters watch, then quietly disappear into the rain, unseen. Weeks later, the doorbell rings. Jian opens the door and freezes. It's Tae, the man who saved her. Ji-Yoo steps in behind her. Tae looks between them, confused. Two identical faces. One moment of disbelief. They invite him in. What begins as gratitude slowly turns into trust. The twins open up, revealing everything. Their parents, the fire, the truth about Park. Tae listened and then made a choice. He joins them. Together, they begin building a trap for Park. Careful, patient, dangerous. But between plans and risks, life slips in. Small moments, laughter, silence that feels warm instead of heavy. And somewhere in those moments, feelings begin to grow. Jian finds herself drawn to Tae, quietly, deeply, but she isn't alone. Ji-Yo feels it too. Two sisters, both of them falling for the same man. The moment finally arrived. The evidence had been delivered to Park, a lure he couldn't resist. He took the bait, arriving at the designated location to reclaim the documents that could destroy him. However, he hadn't come alone. His hired thugs quickly discovered and captured the twins, who had been monitoring the scene from the shadows. Just as Park coldly ordered their execution, Tae stepped into the light. To the twins' shock, Tae commanded the thugs to stand down and leave the premises, and they obeyed without hesitation. Amidst their confusion, Tae revealed his true identity. He wasn't just an ally, he was the owner of the bank, and he had embedded himself in their mission specifically to root out the traitor with irrefutable proof. Realizing he was cornered, Park lunged for his weapon, aiming it directly at Tae, but Tae was faster. With calculated precision, he disarmed and neutralized Park, leaving him defeated on the floor. As the sirens wailed in the distance, they prepared to leave. But Park, fueled by a final, desperate surge of malice, grabbed his fallen gun and aimed a shaky shot at Tae's back. Ji-Yoo saw the flash of the barrel first. Without a second thought, she lunged forward, shoving Tae out of the line of fire. A single shot rang out, and Ji-Yoo collapsed as the bullet intended for Tae struck her instead. Moments later, the police swarmed the building, finally taking Park into custody, but the victory felt hollow. Ji-Yoo's life faded slowly. In her final moments, she whispered a selfless plea for her blind sister, Ji-An, to take her eyes and finally see the world. With one last look at her sister's face, Ji-Yoo passed away, leaving Ji-An in a world of silent grief. Time passed, and the day finally arrived at the hospital. As the doctor unwound the bandages, Ji-An opened her eyes to a world of color. Looking in the mirror, she realized her sister's legacy lived on through her. Ji-Yoo's eyes were now her windows to the world. Tae watched, overcome with joy, as Ji-An looked at him for the very first time. Leaving the shadows of the past behind, they walked out of the hospital together to begin their new life.